Hi, how about another Build-A-Book page? This is what we're going to do on this page. Now remember, these are just a challenge. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do any of these. They're just for ideas. I'm hoping that somebody jump starts off of it into something else they really like. This is a combination of a couple of things I've seen. I've been burning and melting things for a long time, and I decided to play with it and put it together and make it something. So, to get started, what I'm using is a product. One is a Pellon product that is used to transfer patterns and make your own patterns. This stuff is kind of, well, it's like rayon and polyester. It kind of feels like paper, kind of feels like interfacing. There's no fusible on it. And it really takes color well. That's what I really liked about it. You can use plain old interfacing. And I have two different kinds here. I don't know the brands because I've had them forever. This one, I don't know if you can see, but the glue has got little bumpies. This one must be pretty old because I don't see this anymore. But the glue is kind of shiny and shimmery. And I don't really like this one, but it's okay. Now these are both interfacings that are fusible. You can use these and not use this one. Or you can use this one and put a fusible like Heat and Bond or Steam-A-Seam on it. I'm a big fan of Steam-A-Seam, so that's kind of what I went with. So anyway, you take these and you paint them. And I just got it on my tablet, or not on my tablet, on my counter. And I just spray it because I want it wet. I want my colors to bleed. And then I'm using the Dynaflow inks, paints. They're for fabric. Some of them I did, and I'm going to show you some of the others I've done. I used acrylic paint, and it was great too. But this one, if you just put it in the wet spots, they bleed out really fast. And you can spray them more. And it's kind of hard when this gets all wet and it's already been painted on to exactly see what you're doing, but that's okay because if you're using the colors you like, then it's going to turn out okay. And you know, we're looking at it as a background, just a decorative thing, just to get some color. And you can move your paints around. And that's pretty much the basic of painting it. Now, if you are doing the paper and going to use Steam-A-Seam or Wonder Under, you want to iron that onto that. I like doing it before I painted it. Doesn't mean you have to. The reason I do is it gives a little more stability. And then we're going to do some burning. You paint it and you let it dry, and believe it, this stuff just dries really quickly. So we're going to go and show you, I'm going to move this and show you the next step. So we've got some painted with the Steam-A-Seam, and I have several pieces painted. This is that shiny interfacing, the glued back. This is the bumpy spotted glues interfacing. This is that paper. It has no fusible on it. Again, an interfacing. This one is another interfacing. This one was kind of fun because when this was really wet, there was so much paint. I just folded this end over and blotted it, and I had that one painted. So that is what we're going to do, is just paint them. But here comes the fun part. I'm going to grab my fancy tool. I actually paint on this too. This is my very expensive tool to work with. I paid $3.50 at Walmart. I had cookie sheets, but oh man, they were pretty nasty. So, you know, my husband argued, can I use that one? I said, no, that's for painting. So what I'm going to do, and I pieced this. It's not that big a deal. I'm going to peel this off. And I'm going to put this on here like that. Because I'm using Steam-A-Seam, it's sticky. And now I'm going to get my wood burning tool. You could use a soldering iron if you have that and you don't have a wood burning tool, but if you have to go buy one, I kind of think maybe the wood burning tool is a little bit cheaper. So I'm going to draw circles. This is why I like the Steam-A-Seam over the interfacing, because I can just draw, it sticks to it and it doesn't move. So we're going to just do circles. When you pull that up, then you have this to do your background, or foreground actually. So what I did with all my little polka dots, when I did that, because they're sticky and fusible, I put them on a piece of navy blue paper, or fabric, excuse me. Must be getting too late at night for me to do this. Anyway, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I put them on here and I fused them, so they're here. And I think, you know, it's just going to give me a new piece of fabric with some cool textures. So, I wanted to show you, this one here is the interfacing. Excuse me, this one is the paper. Just the paper, and I did not put fusible on it. So when I get ready to put it down to stitch it, I'm going to have to use a little dab of a glue stick, hit and miss, to keep it on my surface. Now, while I'm moving these, I'll kind of explain to you, I want to show you the difference in using the sticky Steam-A-Seam and just the plain old interfacing. So let me grab a piece of the interfacing right now. And I'll grab this one. It's the polka dotted ones. So when you start to go and make your circles, you have to hold it. But even so, it can, especially if you get into some small circles. Okay, it's not going to do it now. But there we go. When I did it earlier, it will kind of wrinkle up, and see, like that one didn't get to be. And they do stick down because you do melt the fusible, but they peel off a little bit easier than the others. Now, that one, it did it too. It seems like this doesn't stay in place for you to draw your circles very well. You really have to hold it in place, and you seem to get more of a torn look. But you know what? I like that too. So it's totally up to you on what you do and how you do it. If you're using a wood burning tool and or a soldering iron, you must remember to unplug it and or turn it off, whichever. Because this puppy is hot. I mean, I can feel the heat like this. So I'm going to put that out of the way. And I have here a piece that I've done the whole thing. I've already got all the holes cut. It's on the Steam-A-Seam. And I have a piece of batting. Now for the ones that I showed you to begin with, these are on fusible batting. And they're a little bit stiffer. This one has the paper, and I just fused it right onto the batting and then put this one on. This one was not a fusible interfacing. It was the paper with no fusible on it. So I just tacked it down in a few places with the glue stick, real lightly, just so it stays. And then you free motion stitch around it. You can kind of see that better on the back side. It's not good. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's really cool. I just go around all the dots, and some of them on the dots and some of them way out, and it's all textures. It's just so much fun. This one I used a fabric background, and so for this one I've cut this to the page size, and then I cut about 1/2 inch off of the length of the length. The reason I did that is because if I'm going to put several layers on this, it's going to be really stiff, and when we get ready to sew these into the binding of our book, I don't want all that stiffness. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fuse another fabric to this and fuse this, and then you can see the step before the stitches. I'll be right back. I'm back. So as you can see, I cut a chunk out of this. Now when you are making this kind of a thing and you are concerned about, you know, having the edges be off a little bit and circles not being fully on there, then cut it down to size and work your melted design in it when it's the right size. I didn't, because I don't know whatever I'm going to do with this. I mean, I'm going to do the book pages, but I might put it in an art quilt, and I don't know. It's hard to say what I'll use these. I really like making components and parts and then putting them together somewhere else down the line. So I fused this orange polka dotted fabric onto my batting. The product I used to do that, I wanted to share that with you, is called Misty Fuse. And I really like this. It's really, really sheer. It's almost like a spider web. I don't know if you can even tell what that is. It tears, and when you've got a little project like this where there's holes and you know, you don't want your fusible sticking out of the holes and you don't want to get it on your iron, you can tear this in little pieces and tuck it in here and there, and it helps hold everything. And it's not a lot of glue, so it holds well, it does what it needs to do, and it doesn't have a lot of stuff for you to stitch around. One of the other reasons I do like the Steam-A-Seam is because it's very, very hard to melt it away. I have used other products that I've ironed them so long that the gooey's just gone. And I want to iron it long enough to get it really melted and adhered, because I don't want to sew through a bunch of glue. So now after you've done this, you just start stitching. And I tend to let it hang over a little bit, and then I will square it up when it's all done. And I just stitched all around it and made the background for a page. So that's our Build-A-Book page for today. And before the weekend's over, I'm going to get everything ready and do a video of sewing the pages in. We'll still have more pages or more ideas to do pages, but I think it's time. We all got a stack of these loose pages floating around, and I want y'all to see how I would put it together. That doesn't mean that's how you have to. Again, I'm just giving you ideas and guidelines. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you get something fun out of it.